to a new video. Today, I'm actually so excited for today's video. I'm doing my cheapest budget per meal video ever. The second cheapest to this one that I've done is 50 cents per meal. I've also done a 75 cents per meal. So I will link those both down below, so make sure you check them out. Today, the cheapest meal that I'm doing in today's video, because there are 3 meals, 33 cents per serving, which I think is awesome. A 33-cent meal, that's like incredible. It's 2024, you guys. Like, when does this ever happen? Like I said, I have 3 meals to share with you guys today, and the cost vary per meal, but they are all super inexpensive, all less than $1 per serving. I love to meal prep this way. It helps me be super creative in my kitchen. It helps me be creative when I shop, and it also helps me get new ideas up for YouTube. So I would love to know down in a comment below, what is a price per meal that you would like to see in an upcoming video? I think I'm gonna really try to do extreme meals, so give me a price. Let's see what I can come up with. As you know, I always share that when I do extreme meals, I try my best to do a starch, a protein, a fiber. Usually I add a protein and a fiber, kind of combine them as a bean. I try to always add a vegetable and a fruit. So I do have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner to share with you today. And I do want to quickly say that this is just not like all the food that I eat in a day or all the food that I would eat in a week. These are just small meals that I like to make to break down the cost per serving. I mean, you eat as much as you need to fuel your body, but I love doing these small, super extreme challenge meals to just see what I come up with for a really small cost. Do me a huge favor, give this video a huge thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed, and let's get started. Okay, starting out with the cheapest meal. This is 33 cents per meal. I'm taking this box of Hungry Jack. I got this pancake mix at the Dollar Tree, so I paid $1.25 for it. You can definitely get a bigger box at your local grocery store and probably pay less per serving, but this was actually like a pretty good deal, so I grabbed a couple of them to stock up on. There are 6 servings in this box, excuse me, there are 12 servings in this box, 12 servings in the box, and I'm dividing it into 6, and then I added 2 bananas, which I got for 37 cents a piece, which brings my total to $1.99. Divide that by 6, it's 33 cents per meal. Now, when I divide it by meal, doesn't mean that I will only eat 1 portion. I might eat 2 portions, I might eat 3 portions, but I just want to share with you what a portion would look like at that cost. But you can obviously eat as much or as little as you want. Don't feel ever like you have to just eat 1 portion. This is just to give you an extreme idea of how much I can make for how little. So this is the cheapest meal today, coming in at just 33 cents per serving, which I am so happy about and really excited to eat these. Dirt cheap meals, take 1. So these Hungry Jack pancakes were definitely a hit. I say at the end of the video that they were our favorite. I did nibble on a little bit for lunch this day, but we had them for breakfast. I love having breakfast prep for the week ahead. I am going to put together a video, I promise, of how I've been meal prepping and grocery shopping lately. I asked you in a video, I think like a week ago. I just haven't gotten it all finished editing yet, but stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, because I used to always spend Saturday or Sunday meal prepping, veggie prepping, produce prepping, doing all the things, but I don't do that anymore. I am over halfway through with my pregnancy. I am a first-time pregnant woman who has had a rough go at it. So I don't sit and all day prep anymore. It's too much for me. I like to break it down differently. So I owe you a video. It's coming, I promise. I just have to edit it. So if you subscribe, you won't miss it. And turn your notifications on so when it goes live, you'll get lots of new ideas for how I break down my meal prep and do things differently. But this day, I did prep all 3 of these meals because it wasn't a lot of food. And it was like, kind of like, it ended up being like lunch and dinner for my husband and I, and then breakfast prep ahead. But one thing I love to do, no matter what, is prep breakfast ahead, because it's the one meal in the morning that I am so hungry for. As soon as I get up, I usually get up between like 4 and 5 a.m. to get ready for work. And I like to eat right away. I never used to be like that until I was pregnant. So having something made ahead is just like the biggest game changer for me. I don't have to think about it. I can just grab something and we're good to go. The awesome thing about pancake bake is you can make it any flavor you want. You can add any kind of fruit, any kind of chocolate, any kind of nut, any kind of seasoning, like I say seasoning, but like cinnamon, brown sugar, etc., etc. You can use
anything. You can add additional maple syrup. I might be weird, but I don't love maple syrup and I don't love it with my pancakes at all. I just love the flavor of pancakes because it's kind of sweet and kind of salty. And these really hit the spot. You can also add more protein to this. I'll be honest, I did have an added protein source. I had a protein shake when I had this because I am pregnant. I try to add a protein source at every single meal because it keeps me satiated for longer. I try not to just eat carbs because that's not going to fuel me or keep me feeling good. So I did add that in. But this was a huge serving for 6 portions. Honestly, I think it would be better with 8 portions if I'm being completely honest. But since it was by itself, I made it into 6. 6 is like the perfect size for my husband, but for me, I feel like an 1/8 of this pan is even like a better portion for me because then I'm not super full. But I went ahead and baked it at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. You do kind of have to keep an eye on it. When you bake it with milk, you will notice that it bakes faster than if you were to bake it with water. I also added 3 cups of liquid. On the back of the package, it said 3 cups of water or 2 1/3 cups of milk, but I just said 3 cups of water. Okay, I'm gonna let this fully cool before cutting into it. It smells so good, so good. But this is gonna be divided into 6 pieces. So that piece is gonna be really big. I'm so excited. So I might not share with you what the final piece looks like, but you can kind of imagine like, it's gonna be like that big. It's gonna be delicious, but this smells so good. It's perfectly golden brown on the sides, cooked all the way through. I love it when it has a split in the middle. It's gonna be so good. Add a little cinnamon to this if you have it. I don't have any cinnamon on hand, so I didn't add it. But this is gonna be such an amazing breakfast. And this is actually gonna be breakfast tomorrow, not today. But I'm so excited for this. The next 2 meals, I'm gonna break down the cost per serving as I share with you what ingredients or how much the ingredient I'm using, but I'm starting out with a pound of pinto beans that I'm using 8 ounces of, so that'll be roughly like 62, 63 cents because I'm using the other half for the next meal. For rice, I broke down the cost per serving by cup. There's 5 cups in this package. Per cup, it's 25 cents per cup. I'm using 2 cups, which equals 50 cents. I'm not using the entire thing. I could use the entire thing because it wouldn't make that much more money per meal, but I don't want the ratios to be like a ton of rice and then, you know. So I'm just making them based on my own preferences for ratios. And then I have $1 worth of veggies, which I got on sale 10 for 10. And so I have $1, I have 50 cents, I have 62 cents, which in total my ingredients are $2.12. I'm gonna make 3 lunches out of this, which brings me to 70 cents per meal. One thing I really like to do when I do extreme budget meals is I like to have a starch, a protein of some kind. I love to do beans because I can add in the fiber and a veggie. And then as far as my breakfast goes, I don't mind if it doesn't have a veggie, but I always try to add a fruit. So to kind of make it well-rounded, I have a starch and a fruit. Here I have a starch, a fiber, a protein, and more fiber and a vegetable. So this brings me to 70 cents per meal with the ingredients I have here.
Okay, I had an emergency and I'm gonna be honest with you. I could just say nothing about it, but I'm gonna be transparent because in case this ever happens to you. So I put my pinto beans in my pressure cooker. It is 1, 2, 3, almost 4 years old. It'll be 4 years old, I think in April of this year, and it broke. As it was cooking, I noticed it wasn't holding pressure and I was like, oh no. And when it clipped to seal, at first I thought it felt a little funny because it didn't feel like when you clip to seal it normally, like when you turn it, but oh, it's probably just me. No, it didn't seal. It will not seal. So I'm gonna have my husband look at it when he gets home. But I have some backup items in our pantry that I'm gonna use for today's meals. It ends up being the same price. I just don't get as many beans out of it. So these are actually 59 cents a can instead of 62 cents. So the price ends up being the same. It just sucks because I'm not getting as many beans out of what I would for a pound. These are 15-ounce cans, and typically a bag of beans makes about 4 cans once it's cooked up for me. So it's like half the amount, but the price is the same. But I didn't have exactly pinto beans on hand, so I'm using 1 chili bean and 1 pinto bean, but we're gonna make it work. But I thought I'd be honest because I was shocked that my pressure cooker decided to go down today, and I just don't have time to sit and mess with it. I have other things I need to do, so like I said, I'll have my husband look at it when he gets home. If it's broke, then we'll have to get a new one. But let me know if this has ever happened to you, like it won't seal correctly, and what you did to fix it. So maybe I can fix mine, or maybe it's the end of the road for this one. 4 years, we went strong.
As far as the vegetables go for both the lunch and the dinner, I just decided to go ahead and microwave them. I only did 1 bag this day, and then the second bag I did for the next day. But I mean, if you don't eat frozen veggies and warm them up in a microwave, that's okay. Do whatever works for you. I like them this way. They're convenient. I make like 99% of our food from scratch, so if I have some frozen veggies here or there, it's all right. Sometimes I steam them in a pan. Sometimes I roast them in the oven. This day I just decided to steam them as they were. And as you can see, I'm just using 1/3 of that can of beans. It does make my bean ratio less, like I said, because when you dry cook beans, you get so much more volume for the price. Rice. Let's talk about rice real quick. Rice is honestly the most overlooked starch, I feel like. I have a couple rice videos that have kind of popped off in the last few months, and the amount of people that tell me that rice is unhealthy, listen. Starches are not unhealthy. You just have to eat a balanced plate. I ate a high starch, low fat diet for over 3 years, and I really enjoyed it until I just kind of got bored with it and decided to add more protein in. So my plate looks a little bit different. It's more of like a 50, 25, 25. So starch is not bad. Okay. We don't have to demonize any type of food. It's all about portions, how much you eat, and what works best for your body. Maybe your body doesn't like starches because you're diabetic. That's okay. I'm not, but I really, really like starch, and my body likes it, but I have to have a protein with it, especially during pregnancy. And I found over the last year that my body just really thrives having a little bit more protein in my diet, but I still do more of a high carb, lower fat. But I eat now a vegetarian diet instead of fully plant-based. So this is a very large meal, and it would have been even larger had we had the full amount of beans that we were planning on. But we do have almost 2 cups of cooked rice, 1/3 of that bag of veggies, and quite a bit of beans. So this is a meal that's going to keep you super full, and it only cost a couple of cents.
Last meal is dinner. I'm using the other half of the beans, which again is about 62, 63 cents. A bag of the frozen vegetables, again, is $1. And as far as the mashed potatoes go, I'm not using the entire lot of them. This box cost me $2.20, and it has 34 servings. So I did the math on this. I am using 9 servings, which is 3 cups, and that's 58 cents of mashed potatoes. So for this meal, it is 58 cents for the mashed potatoes, 62 cents for the beans, $1 for the veggies, and that rounds us out to $2.20. Again, I have a starch, I have a protein and a fiber, and a veggie and a fiber. So this is well-rounded for my personal preference, and it brings out to 73 cents a meal. So on this very day, if I were to just eat those 3 meals, it would be a total of $1.76. Obviously, I'm gonna eat more than that, but that's really, really extreme. I'm just sharing with you, obviously, the extreme versions, but you can have more or less just depending on what your needs are. But this meal I know is gonna be fantastic because I've made this so many times before. My 2-ingredient burgers are like my favorite thing ever. And if you are vegetarian or plant-based, or I guess even vegan, they're super easy to make, and they grill really well. They pan fry really well. There's great substitute for like a cheaper alternative to a plant-based burger, and they're one of my favorite things, and I make them like bi-weekly, and I put them, sometimes I'll make extra and put them in the freezer, so I can't wait to share that recipe with you guys today.
I know I have shared these bean burgers multiple times on my channel, but I don't know if I've ever shared them with a different bean other than black beans. But here is how to make them even more delicious. Still super budget friendly, maybe not as cheap as these, but you add a can of beans or 15 ounces, which ends up being like 1.5 cups of cooked beans. And then ratio-wise, I have written on my notes 3 cups of potato flakes, but that's if you add like cooked onions and corn and cooked green peppers, anything like that. But take a can of beans, take a can of green chilies, and then add 3 cups of potato flakes. They're the best burger ever. With the chili beans, I will say they were really good. I've actually never made them with chili beans before, but they're super full of flavor. You can add any kind of seasoning you want to them. They're really, really easy to make. They combine super quickly. I kind of mash the beans a little bit to kind of just it just kind of like, I don't know, it's a habit. You don't even really have to, but you just kind of mix the potatoes in, and the potatoes will adhere to the liquid of the beans, and then you can kind of continue to mash them as they mix. But if you're using a can of beans, don't drain the liquid. If you're using cooked beans that you make in the pressure cooker like I was going to, don't drain the liquid. Do like a cup and a half, and really doesn't have to be perfect ratios. You can just kind of eyeball it like I'm doing here. I used about 2 cups of potato flakes because I didn't have the green chilies to add to it like I have in my notes, but they're so good. They're so easy to put together. If you're going to freeze these, I will roll them up and then flatten them down and put them between parchment paper and then put them in a large Ziploc bag and put them in my freezer and then take them out at a portion at a time. But they're super easy to make for meal prep, super easy to make ahead. They are so delicious. You can make them with any bean you want. My preference is black beans. I'm really digging the chili bean ones, but black beans with corn, green chilies, onions, and different colored peppers. They're just really good, and they're perfect for the grill. Everyone that's ever made these has always told me how much they love them. They're 2 ingredients, and you can add anything else you want to them. They turn out great every time. They get really crispy because of the starch of the potato. They work great on a bun. I really like them on a lettuce bun. But yeah, they're just like the cheapest thing, and they're really, really inexpensive compared to any other plant-based burger, and they take like no effort to make, especially if you use canned beans, because then you don't have to make anything ahead of time. So I will cook them with a little bit of olive oil in a pan on the stovetop normally, and then cook them for like 3 to 5 minutes on medium-high heat until they're kind of crispy on each side. And they are just so good. Again, you can meal prep a ton of these at a time. You can put them in the freezer. As you see here, when I flip them, they're like nice and crispy. They're just really delicious. They stay together really nice. They always turn out for me. If you end up having like more liquid, you just add a little bit of extra potato flakes. So you just add a little bit at a time, but they always turn out perfect. This is a highly, highly, highly recommended meal. If you are someone who is looking for an easy spring, summertime meal, these burgers are perfect, and they're really, really inexpensive. So here's the last meal. As you can see, this meal had 4 burgers, the other one had 3, and then I have some veggies on the side. Really good. Again, it's like a 50, 25, 25 plate to starch, protein, and veggies, which is kind of how I'm eating right now, and I'm really enjoying it.
So which meal was your favorite? I would love to know in a comment down below. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. I gotta be honest, the pancake bake was my and my husband's favorite. I will probably be making that on rotation for a little while. Fun fact, when we moved to Las Vegas 4 years ago, for an entire month, which is crazy, we made, well, we as in me, but we had pancake bake. I made pancake bake every single day, not like every single day, but we had it every single day for a month. I was so obsessed with it. I would just interchange the ingredients. Sometimes we would do it with blueberries, sometimes bananas, sometimes we would do chocolate chips, sometimes with nuts. But I would make a different pancake bake and then we would eat off of it. And then when it was gone, I would make another one. And I was just so obsessed with it. And this just reminded me of how obsessed I am with pancake bake. So I'm probably gonna keep this on rotation for a little while, but at 33 cents a serving, I feel like you really can't beat it. You can definitely exchange for different toppings that you might like better than bananas. I just really wanna add bananas back into my diet. So I thought that was like a really good, really inexpensive topper for the pancake bake. But let me know, which meal was your favorite? I'd love to hear from down below. If you didn't already answer my question from the beginning, let me know what budget you'd like to see next per meal on an extreme budget video. I'll see if I can make it happen. Obviously like 10 or 15 cents might not happen, but I guess if you put it, I can try. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon in a new video. Bye.